Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you all? Hope you are enjoying Ramadan as well as with Ramadan you are studying Pakistan International School Thai's virtual learning classes. We are we are at chapter number 3 and we are doing reproduction in plants. Now today's topic is kinds of reproduction and fertilization in plants. So let's start. We will see first of all kinds of reproduction. Before going that, dear students, you have studied about reproduction in the previous lecture, that reproduction means to produce the same kind of living organisms again. Means all living things do a reproduction process for their survival. Otherwise, the organisms can die off from the surface of the earth. Here we will talk about kinds of reproduction, that how it happens by two ways: asexual reproduction as well as sexual reproduction. A means without, sexual means sex organs like male and female. So without male and female, the reproduction is done. That is called asexual reproduction. So the type of reproduction in which a cell from one parent develops into offspring. Only one parent is required, not both male and female parents are required for that. Various methods of reproductions are commonly found in plants. We will discuss them also. So in those various asexual reproduction methods in the plants, we are having very common cutting, grafting, and layering in plants. In previous classes you might have studied. When we cut any plant and stem of that and we grow straight forward in the soil, that can grow. The other one is grafting. The cuttings example is sugar cane. Grafting, like we do grafting in a rose plant, and well, as we cut some part of the rose plant and then we grow into the ground or into the other plant. We join this with the we join one part of the rose stem to the other part. That is called grafting. Layering in plants, we also do the layering in plants, like we can grow lots of pieces of the plants from one plant, like it is done in tuber, it is done in mint, like that. Lots of things we can do by these steps. This is asexual reproduction. Only one plant part is required, not the fusion, not the combination of two parents. Here we will see sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, two gametes, one from each parent, combine to form zygote. Sexual means with the help of both the parents, male and female, and two gametes, from one from male and the other from female, they combine and they form a zygote. Zygote is the combination of cells which is formed in the sexual reproduction by the combination of two gametes. Gametes means male and female sex cells. Flowers are responsible in plants for sexual reproduction, as we know that flowers are the reproductive part of the plants. So here we can, the plants can have the sexual reproduction with the help of flowers. The zygote formed in the process is transformed into seed. When in the anther and a stigma, the pollen grain with the ovule, it combines, it forms seed later on. So zygote, a male what is it actually? A male gamete that is called sperm and the female gamete that is called egg fuse to form a zygote. Later, this zygote develops into seed and seed grows into new plant. Yes. So do you know that potatoes use asexual reproduction? If we look at a potato tuber, so asexual reproduction means just a potato part, any part of the potato plant we can use to grow other potatoes also. So we can look at the potato tuber. Here we can see little buds and eyes, and little buds can grow into new plants. If you see lots of potatoes with one plant, how does it happen? Actually, potato is also called potato tuber. They are present under the ground, and these are underground stems actually. So what happened? Lateral bud. These are actually the small holes or small what we can say the scars or very small part that is darker in color from here. These are called lateral buds, or these are also called eyes of the potato. And from these eyes, you see this looks like eyes, and from here the new bud can arise like this, and root and shoots can grow from there like that. You can see the stem is growing from here a very little one, and this one also. So if we see the difference between sexual and asexual reproduction in the plants, you can see here, this is wild strawberry and these are runners, means these are like when we grow a smaller plant of this one into the ground. So what happened from the soil, this stem can move far away, and then it can just releases the roots from here. So where the roots can grow, there is a node, there is combination of lots of cells over there, and the cells started to grow into the roots and then shoots, and then this can spread all over the area where you have grown it. Mint is also the very good example for that. The other asexual reproduction, here just one plant is required, one organ is required, and not both male and female gametes are required here. So here this is onion bulb, and you can see in your kitchen as well. Now this is the season. If you keep the onions for some time outside, or you just in the water only, so there's this big onion can grow into the roots and shoots as well. If you see this potato plant, this also we have discussed before. This is hydra animal. This lives in the water, and you see from hydra body, one organism is required here. The other small organism just arise in the form of a bud, and then it grows out, and then it sheds, it leaves this place, it breaks from here, and then it grows into a complete individual. If you see, this is amoeba. Maybe you have just studied about amoeba in grade 5, yes, in the first chapter. So you can see this is amoeba, and this single cell amoeba, because this is unicellular, so it is divided into 2 cells. So no 2 parents are required, just 1 cell is required. So it is divided into 2 cells, and 2 organisms, 1 more organisms, or 2 new organisms we can say are formed from this procedure. This is called binary fission. Binary means fission means breakdown, binary means into 2. So 1 cell is divided into 2. If you see the sexual reproduction in plants, so because flower is the reproductive part, so male and female parts are required. So if you see this one, this is stamen, this one outside the big picture of this is the stamen, this is male reproductive part, and this is pistil, or we can say it carpel. The other name is pistil also. So that is used, that is a female reproductive part. And what happened, these are lots of pollen grains. This is the bigger image of pollen grain. When it just shares from here, just falls on this stigma. So here this is male gamete, and then it goes through a tube into the ovary, and here is ovule. Ovule is a female gamete, so male, and these cells and nuclei are coming here, and then they fuse together. Fuse means they join together like this. One cell is joined with other, that is called fusion, and that forms embryo. And this process is called fertilization. When male and female gametes fuse or combine together, that is called fertilization. So this fertilization is happened in sexual reproduction in plants or not, and not in asexual reproduction in plants. Now we will see about how the fertilization is done. The surface of stigma in a flower is sticky and pollen grains stick to it. If you see this one, surface of the stigma is sticky. And if we just when the pollen grain just comes over it, it sticks here. It is a sticky and rough surface here. So here a pollen tube grows out from each pollen grain. Two sperms are present in this tube, in pollen tube. The tube grows downward through the style and enters the ovary. Pollen tube finally enters an ovule and releases its sperms in it. One of the sperms combines with the egg to form zygote. The other sperm combines with another cell to make the stir of the food. So if we talk about sperm here, so it means these nuclei which are present in the pollen grain. Okay, so let's see the structure of pollen grain. This is one pollen grain. Look, it is having a rough surface, like the edges, sharp edges, because when it comes on the stigma, so it stick over there. That's why, for the convenience of the like sticking onto the stigma, these edges are present. So what happened when this pollen grain just jumps over it? So it starts to release pollen tube here. The membrane which is present here, it is what happened then, it degenerates or broken down by some chemicals. And what happened, a pollen tube is formed. This green, these are two nuclei present here. This nuclei is called pollen tube nucleus, and this is used to make this tube inside here into the style. This is stigma, this is a style, into the style. When this tube grows longer and longer due to this nucleus, this blue nuclei come behind them, chase them, and then reaches to the ovule. You see, this one nucleus is divided into two, and then they form two nuclei or two sperms, which are used for fertilizations. I have told you the fusion of sperm with the egg is called fertilization. So fertilization is happened here when this nucleus, a male gamete, will fuse with the female gamete. Let's take a look on the detailed diagram of this one. From here, lots of pollen grains comes out, and here they are having two nuclei. One is used as a pollen tube nuclei because it makes a tube into this style, and the other is divided into two, and these are called two sperm nuclei. They reaches here to the ovule. One is in the ovule, There is not only one cell, there are lots of cells. So these are two are having more importance. So the first nucleus will fertilized or combine with this female cell, and the other second nucleus will come inside and fuse with this one. This is called fertilization. So 1 and 2, this is called double fertilization. Actually, you will study this in higher classes in grade 10, but right now, just you must have concept of fertilization. So from this fusion, from this fertilization, this embryo will be formed. And this embryo will just transformed into the new plant when we grow the seeds. These are the roots, and the shoots come out from this plant. And this one, the other cell, is just transformed into this whole spreaded material that is used for the food by this embryo. Okay, if you see this procedure in detail, we will see this diagram once again here in this picture. You see the pollen grain is coming. Now the pollen tube is formed here. You see this one, and you see two nuclei just come inside. One nucleus has made this pollen tube, and the other two are behind this first nucleus, and these two are called sperm nuclei. This one will fuse here with this egg cell, and the other will fuse here with this one or this one. So it will make like this zygote. This one, zygote, means when the egg and sperms fuse together. That process is called fertilization, and the thing which is formed, that is called zygote. And this later becomes embryo. Okay, and this and this one, the other nucleus, this the second nucleus, which fertilizes here with the polar nuclei. Then it spreads all over, it gets bigger and bigger to give nutrition to this embryo, and that is called endosperm. And then this ovule which is present here, that becomes later on a seed, and it when we just sow in the ground, so that make a new plant or seedling. Okay, so what happened after fertilization? We will see here, after fertilization, several changes takes place in the flower. Several changes. Dear students, sorry for inconvenience in the video. So there are some changes after the fertilization we will see here. So we have studied different parts, sepals, petals, and stamens. So what happened after fertilization? These dry up and fall off. This beautiful flower just changes into another form, that form uh, which is also very useful. And that what changes is done, the fertilized egg inside the ovary develops into embryo, ovules become seeds, and ovary grows large and develops into fruit. Yummy, different fruits. So it means fertilization process is very beneficial, not for the plants but also for other living organisms. So the fruit protects the seed or seeds. So you can see here in this diagram, this is the pea diagram of a pea plant. So here is a flower, stamens, and this is the stigma, this is ovary. So you know that pea is having lots of seeds in that. So what happened later on when all this fertilization is done? So these petals and sepals, look, they dried up and sheds off. So this fruit becomes larger because it has to ripe. This whole, that is called ovary. You see this one, this is stigma, style, and ovary. So this is ovary becomes or ripened fruit. Yes, although we don't eat this upper layer, but inside we are having lots of, here we are having ovules. When they fertilize, they are transformed into seeds. Yes, those peas which we like use in our daily cooking. So this whole, in one ovule, this that fertilized portion, that is called embryo. Now that changes into embryo, and fertilized egg changes into embryo, and the other one, that is called endosperm, and that endosperm is used for nutrition for this embryo. And number one change, this one. Number two, this ovary ripens and it becomes fruit. And number third, these all ovules ripen and they form a seed. And what is the structure of seed? We will see all these structure in the next topic, inshallah. And this is one seed. We just remove these leaves and fruits and just we eat these seeds, and we can dry them off. This is not happens only in one plant, but every plant which is having flower, it happens like this. Look, this zygote changes into embryo. Embryo is developing inside it. Petals and sepals are shedding off. This changes into fruit, and maybe this can be a plum or whatever it is. So this is a big seed in it. Plum is also having apricot. Apricot is also having one seed. Plum is having, like mango, it is also having one seed, like orange, watermelon, and papaya, and lots of other fruits. They are having lots of seeds inside it. It means its ovary is having lots of ovules. That's why it is having lots of seeds. And this whole is a ripened fruit. Now we can eat this fruit, isn't it? Yes. So okay, now extend your thinking. The papaya plant has male and female parts on separate plants. Like you have seen the video in the previous lecture, there are two types of plants. One is imperfect and other is perfect. It means perfect flowers or perfect plants are having male and female reproductive parts on the same flower. And here male and female parts are different on different separate plants. So it means that is imperfect plant or imperfect flowers. So why is a lonely papaya tree hard to see with fruit? Like if one papaya plant is over there, so maybe it will not produce the fruit. Why? Here is the reason. If you see, there are this is papaya plant. This is a female plant in which it is having a big flower, one big flower at the stem, every stem, okay, every branch. This is male papaya plant in which there are lots of flowers. And these flowers, what they do, it is having just a male reproductive part and it is having just female reproductive part inside it. So they have to grow side by side with one another, not separately. Separately, they will not give the fruit. They have to just grow side by side, and pollen grains from this male flower, it will reaches by cross pollination to the other flower, and then it will produce fruit. This plant, male plant, will not produce fruit, but this female plant will produce fruit like this. And this papaya is very, very healthy for our body. That is a very nutritious fruit. And this is its overall view about the plant. So, my dear students, that's all for today. I hope you understood lots of different and new things about the reproduction of the plants. Wish you all the best. Good luck for your